all you action figure enthusiasts out there. JayC here, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of TNI News. We've got some GIJoe news. Not quite as much GIJoe news as I was hoping, but we did have the fan stream today to kick off JoJo June. And basically, because we didn't get as much as I was hoping, because it looks like Hasbro is going to stretch things out throughout the month as far as reveals and stuff throughout the month of June. So we only got a few reveals today, which we're going to talk about. I got an update for you on the Marvel Legend front as far as a pre-order goes, and just a few other things as well. So let us just do a quick roll call, see who's in the house here. John is in the house as always. Good to see you, my friend. Same with Austin. Good to see you guys. Jay and what's good? Good to see you, my friend. The mass figure collector. Hope the family as well. It is. Same to you. We've got Comics 1017, who's been doing some shopping at Hasbro Pulse today. We've got Zim in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Psycho Dad. Good to see you. Passiano. Good to see you, my friend. Yo Joe. I'm guessing Dial Tone is one of those. Talking to comics. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. Finally remembered. Always start working around this time, so no different today. So hopefully you're having a good day at work. Figure Fury is in the house. What is up? Mr. Allmine is here. So his name won't pop up. There we go. And then we've got, let's see, John from Ireland. Good to see you. Hobgoblin 85 is in the house. Good to see you. Elio is here. Judge Dreads. Sinister October Solo. Greetings to you. Looks like a new face there. Max Zombie's in the house. Good to see you. Looks like we got a pretty full house. Philip is here. Felix is here. So a lot of action figure enthusiast members out there. Just a note on the most recent count, we are up to 59, so we need one more action figure enthusiast member to go, and then we'll do a contest giveaway. So I suspect good chance maybe the next live stream, which I don't know if it'll be Friday or Monday, but we're getting really close to the 60. So contest giveaway for $100 store credit to Big Bad Toy Store will be coming up soon. And of course, Salome is here as well. The ultimate action figure enthusiast and great accessory stealer as well. Salome's never seen an accessory she doesn't like to steal if you leave it on the table. All right, so let's get into today's news. So let's start off with Marvel. Only thing I have for you is, again, just a quick update. So Dan Young has said that both the Thanos and Psylocke 2-pack, the Marvel versus Capcom inspired 2-pack that they announced last week, slated, this is a Target exclusive, slated for pre-order this Friday. So originally in the press information Hasbro sent out, they said 1 p.m. Eastern time for this pre-order, but Dan Young today said 9 a.m. Eastern time. So this will be going up on Friday morning, again at 9 a.m. or thereabouts. You never know with Target if they're exactly going to be on time. But 9 a.m. Eastern time in the morning is when that Psylocke Thanos 2-pack. Also, the Weapon X X-Men Retro card back figure is going to be going up as well that day. So I'm still... we have the Target Geek Out event that's starting here very soon, either this week or next. McFarlane Toys had said next week, but it wasn't 100% clear whether they were just talking about when their stuff is going up or just when the event starts, period. I'm thinking, even though we have 2 Marvel Legends going up on Friday, I'm thinking they're just random pre-orders. They're not going to be part of the Geek Out event. Target has not yet made any official announcement for the Geek Out event, and we're getting pretty close if it was going to be this Friday. So I won't say 100%, but I think these are just going to be random pre-orders. We still have the Marvel Legend Mystique figure on the retro card back. That will probably go up sometime during the Geek Out event, which will definitely be starting next Friday, at least according to McFarlane Toys. So, and just for those who are not familiar, again, that's every Friday for usually about a month's time frame. they will put up pre-orders from various companies of product. Sometimes they're exclusive, sometimes they're not. But again, definitely this Friday we do have at least 2 Marvel Legend pre-orders with the Weapon X and the Thanos versus Psylocke. And I do suspect that Thanos versus Psylocke will sell out fairly quickly. So I would, if you want to try and snag that one online, these will also hit physical stores. So they will be at some point available at physical Targets. So if you miss out online, you will probably get another shot at them. But again, Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and I do suspect the Weapon X might sell out. I don't know, but I definitely feel like the Thanos Psylocke set is going to sell out. Remember, tomorrow, Thursday, the 5th, we get also get as a general release, or fan channel Amazon. I think the Wolverine Silver Samurai set is a mainline release, so everywhere should have that. But that goes up tomorrow, so 1 p.m. Eastern time for that one. So that one is in the afternoon, but that one I don't think is going to sell out super quick or anything. So, but those are your Marvel Legends updates. Also, not necessarily toy related, but pretty cool. If you're going to go see the Fantastic Four movie this summer in July, if you're going to AMC Theater, you might want to think about picking up this pretty cool looking Galactus head popcorn bucket. So the eyes light up. It's said to be pretty big. I want to say 32 ounces. Also, a Herbie drink cup. So that one's kind of cool as well. If you're going to Regal Cinemas, you can get this Fantastic Car popcorn bucket. So those are, that's the big thing nowadays, is the fancy popcorn buckets for every major movie. But definitely the Galactus head with the light up eyes look really cool to me. So, and again, that one's going to be available at AMC theaters. And these, I believe AMC will sell them at least a limited number on their website, I believe starting on July 24th. The movie opens on July 25th. So again, just something to look out for if you're going to the movies and you want a cool popcorn bucket. Transformers, just to update you. So the Dakar version of that 86 Megatron has gone up for pre-order. I believe places like Hobby Link Japan have it. Your overseas e-tailers, Robot Kingdom may have it as well. There will be Hasbro versions of these. These are the Dakar ones that are going up for pre-order right now, but Hasbro will be offering these here in the United States. So if you're in the United States, I'd probably just wait for Hasbro's. Especially with tariffs and everything, trying to buy something from overseas might get expensive. We also, Alita 1 and Starscream Studio Series. So again, Hasbro should be reissuing these themselves, but right now, Takara and also Thundercracker. This is a reissue. These are reissues, I believe. But Reflector and Thundercracker in the Dramatic Capture series. So I always like Reflector, even though I didn't have the original toy, which I think was a mail away back in the day. I have a third-party Masterpiece version since Takara never did a Masterpiece one. But again, these are all, I believe, available from overseas e-tailers, and at some point, through Hasbro, these will be offered here in the United States. Not much on the McFarlane front. A couple of statue pre-orders coming up. So Mira, this is a 1/8 scale statue. This is going up at 12 p.m. on June 11th. And also Azrael, a black and white version, a 1/10 scale. This is also this is going up on June 9th. So How much else on the McFarlane Toy? Oh, actually, I do have one more thing. So, a Toy Collector magazine is showing off on their cover. Another one of those MonsterVerse 2 packs. This one is Godzilla. It's the second Godzilla. There is a Superman Godzilla, a Superman figure with a Godzilla figure coming in this line. But this is a second Godzilla. I believe this one will have atomic breath. I mean, that atomic breath in the picture is obviously, just Photoshop, but I believe that's probably the difference between the two Godzillas. Um, some type of atomic version and then a regular version. So this Wonder Woman, I believe, is using the GIJoe body, but it does have a new head sculpt, though we don't get a good look at it. But again, technically this is a comic book based Wonder Woman, kinda. So keep an eye out for that one. I know a lot of people have been wanting McFarlane to do more comic book based Wonder Woman. NECA Toys. We talked about last week how NECA had teased an image of the party wagon with some surfboards on it. So this appears to be what they were teasing. It's another San Diego Comic Con exclusive. So it's the turtles and Hawaiian shirts. You do get surfboards with this set. So we talked about the Ben Cooper figure on Monday. That's another San Diego Comic Con exclusive, but this is the second one that they've revealed. So again, the 4 turtles wearing Hawaiian gear with surfboards. Got some pizza, of course. They haven't, I don't think they really said, but I'm going to guess that they will make some of these available on their NECA store website as well. So, yeah, actually it does. June 18th through the 20th on the NECA store. So now, last year they took like forever to actually ship out their San Diego Comic Con exclusives, but you if you were patient, you did eventually get it. So Wednesday figures, they showed a preview of these. These are cloth figures. So these face sculpts to me are not that great. This is based on the Netflix series, but if you're a huge Wednesday fan, I believe these are currently available on NECA store, but they should be available other places as well. So this is a 2 pack with Wednesday and her friend, again from the Netflix series. But I don't know. I like the series, but not enough so that I would be collecting figures from it. And definitely, I don't know. Those face sculpts to me on these figures don't look that great. Let's see what else we got. We'll save GIJoe for last. Um, Also, from Mezco, we've got a new Chucky figure. So this is a 15-inch sneering Chucky. This is available at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. Seems like every time you turn around, somebody's doing a new Chucky figure. But again, this one's from Mezco. Like I say, it is available for pre-order now at Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. Monster Force. This is going to be a Joe Fest exclusive. The Eraser. So this is a translucent type figure. $40. I think they'll have some available afterward at Big Bad Toy Store, but again, they will have a limited number of these available at Joe Fest, which is later this month in Augusta, Georgia, June 20th through the 22nd. They also have for smaller scale. or Eagle Force, Downtown Sergeant Brown. So I feel like this is based on Eddie Murphy from Beverly Hills Cop. But that is also going to be available at Joe Fest. That one's $30. And this one again, I believe, is a 1/18 scale figure. Oh, another update for you. So on Monday, I told you how Mattel Creations had listed the Fright Zone for pre-order later this month. They've now removed that listing. So I'm going to assume that means that they've delayed the release of this. We saw these images released back during Toy Fair, but because it's no longer on the Mattel Creations product drop zone for this month, the other one, the Shirella figure is still there, but they removed the Fright Zone, which I believe was listed for the 27th. So again, I'm sure it's still going to get released. It's just been delayed for whatever reason. I don't know when it'll get released. Maybe in July. But like I say, Fright Zone, even though disregard what I told you on Monday because it looks like it has been delayed. That Beastman figure from Mondo is available on the Mondo website. This is another thing we talked about on Monday, but again, you can get it now on Mondo's website. It's supposed to be limited to 1,000. I haven't actually checked. Is it still available? Yes, $275. So for you 1/6 scale fans, classic retro Beastman. For you Turtle fans, JayCoe has announced several new of their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. So, Dirtbag, Ground Chuck, and Razar. So, these are like 5-inch figures, 5-inch scale figures. But they're expanding the line out to more obscure characters. These look very similar to the NECA figures, only kind of shrunk down. But again, those are coming from JayCoe. Just want to make sure I'm caught up with everything. For you Street Shark fans, there's a new comic book series. Mattel and IDW are teaming up, so just be aware of that coming out later this year. Street Sharks comic book. Several Tomasi Nation figure art figures went up for pre-order. The Big Bad. I'm not really going to get into that today. All right, so let's delve into today's GIJoe classified reveal. So to me, probably the coolest reveal, even though it was only a render, was, and they had announced this one was coming, but they gave us a look at the Cold Slither San Diego Comic-Con box set. They haven't released official images yet, but they gave us a look at the figures. The drum set does have a stool. It wasn't clear whether the stool would be included with the drum set in their digital renders that they released, but it does have a stool. It's got a foot pedal. It's actually a really nicely detailed drum play set for action figures. So to me, that's almost the coolest thing about this set. But it's Zartan and the three Dreadnoks dressed up as 80s rock stars from the cartoon Cold Slither. was the band name. They've got they're releasing an actual, album. So they're really getting into the whole Cold Slither stuff. As far as the box set, it will be available at San Diego Comic-Con. They said limited quantities will be available at Hasbro Pulse sometime after the show. They haven't yet given a date. They say that every year with the exclusives. So I don't know what the price will be on this set, but again, that is coming. For digital renders, they once again showed us the All Striker. I don't know why they showed us this again. We had already seen this one, but this was one of the renders that they revealed. Also, for the Legacy collection, they're doing a police officer figure, so a generic police officer. So that's something, if you're into the Legacy stuff, might be interested in. For name reveals, they gave us 2 name reveals. I can't say I was very excited about either one, but the first one they listed as Steel Corp Century Defense Post. So, I obviously it's going to be some type of little mini Dio type thing, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was a repainted, maybe a little bit retooled version of this Cobra modular fortification they did previously. So I mean, I don't know, it might be totally different, but that was my first thought, is they're going to retool a little bit and repaint for GIJoe this thing that they did before. But technically it's kind of cool if you buy multiples and you stack them and stuff. It's kind of a cool diorama piece. But so that was one of the name reveals. The other one was the Desert Scorpion. So I remember a more modern version of the Scorpion figure that they did, but this is a look at the original. So that one is the second name reveal. 3DJoes.com for these images. So this is, again, the original figure. So the figure was originally released in 91. The Scorpion you see on the back, I believe, is from the modern figure that they did. So those were your name reveals. And then and one other digital render. This, and again, to me, this was the coolest. The Renegade Sergeant Slaughter and Mercer figure. Mercer was in the GIJoe animated movie. Sarge looks good, but for me, it's all about Mercer. I definitely want to get Mercer. So again, this is a 2-pack. They told us this was coming in the last live stream. Now we got the render. So overall, looks pretty good. Mercer has a lot of weapons. Does not have a Scorpion to spit on, but oh well. Sergeant Slaughter's in desert colors. He has the beret, he has a hat, his traditional hat, and then he's got a military cap. So that was your third digital render review or reveal. And then for pre-orders today, so as expected, images leaked out yesterday for the deluxe Buddha figure and the MMS with Colonel Hawk figure. Hawk based on before he got his promotion to general. He started out in the comics as a colonel. The original mobile missile system toy came with a Kit Bash figure, but they called it Colonel Hawk. So that was the very first Hawk figure that got released in the line back when it originally debuted. So those went up for pre-order. Those leaked out yesterday. Those images leaked out yesterday, as often those things always do. This was a Pulse exclusive, the Slice and Dice. We had seen digital renders. So this is available now. It went up first at 1 p.m. for premium members, even though Emily said 12 p.m. for premium members during the stream, but I think she got her times mixed up. It was 1 p.m. for premium members, 2 p.m. for everybody. Last time I checked, it was still available. We'll just pop up. Yeah, it's still available on Hasbro Pulse, $54.99. You know, they're pretty nice looking figures. I'm not huge into all these various ninjas for GI Joe, you know, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, but beyond that, I kind of lose my interest in ninjas. I did go on and pick this one up, but you get some cool masks. You get this this hat, which can double as a shield. Get alternate heads. So again, that's up for pre-order now. Ninja Force. And then, like I say, the MMS and Budo are everywhere. Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. So this is a repaint of the Cobra one, including the blast effects, which they still didn't fix because they've got the smoke on the wrong side. But not a big deal to me, but a lot of people gave Hasbro a hard time when they did that with the Cobra one. Again, Colonel Hawk before he got promoted. I'm sure we'll be seeing this figure as Grand Slam at some point. Maybe also some of these parts will be used with the Flash figure. I want to say the original figure was like Grand Slam's body with Grunt's head, something like that. This Hawk has the buzz cut blonde hair. So again, that is available for pre-order now. $80 on that one, so not cheap. The Cobra one wasn't cheap either. Actually, it's 70. You can get it cheaper on Amazon, 75 on Amazon. I will tell you, I'm not that interested in the mobile missile system. I wouldn't mind the Hawk figure just because I wouldn't mind having all of like classified versions of all the original figures, but it's not worth it to me. Hawk's, you know, to pay $80 for, $75, whatever. So if this goes on discount, and honestly, I would not be shocked if at some point this didn't go on discount, then I may pick this up, but for the Hawk figure, but definitely holding off on this one for now. And then the Budo figure was the third pre-order for today. So not a character that I am super familiar with. I barely remember him, but I think they did a good job with the figure. If you like samurai type figures, we got two samurais this week with Silver Samurai from Marvel Legends and Budo here with GI Joe. So it's a big week for samurais. Now, this is a deluxe figure. And this one is $35. Now, Hasbro, as I said, I was originally expecting more pre-orders today, more reveals, but it looks like, you know, I talked about previously how it looked like there a second day this month of pre-orders had popped up on the Entertainment Earth Drop Zone page, June 11th. So it seems like Hasbro has, you know, broke the pre-orders up. So there's going to be another round of pre-orders again, I believe on June 11th. Hasbro said that every week they're going to do some type of reveal or something for GIJoe June. So, you know, they're kind of trying to stretch things out throughout the course of the month. At the end of the month, they're not going to wait for San Diego. They're going to launch it at the end of June, the GIJoe Haslab. and they teased it, and I think it's pretty safe to decipher what it's going to be. Um, So notice the snow falling in this Haslab logo that they released, and then MLA started throwing out these catchphrases like, freeze and chill and things like that. So obviously it's something cold, winter related. Um, the Snowcat, the GIJoe Snowcat, seems the most obvious to me for like a snow vehicle. It should be GIJoe's turn this year. We got the Cobra vehicle last year. They seem to go back and forth between GIJoe. So we go back to 3D Joe's here. And, this is a pretty cool vehicle. It's, kind of like a tank. It's got treads. It's got missiles. It's got, as a kid, the missiles on the skis was always kind of a cool gimmick to me. It's got the missile launcher on the back. It holds more figures than, like, I think the Mauler or the Mobat did. So you got 2 figures you can put up in the front, and then you can have additional figures on the back. So, I imagine, that might be one of the reasons, we were talking on Monday, Mobat, Mauler, but I feel like they've gone with the Snowcat. My only thing about the Snowcat is, like, I have this battle scene back here. I don't know how well, like, an Arctic vehicle is going to fit in with that. So it's kind of like, I mean, obviously the Hiss could be used in an Arctic setting. I guess even the Jeeps could, but it's kind of like going with a whole new kind of setup, switching to Arctic. So I like the Snowcat. I definitely am interested in seeing what they've done with a classified version, but I won't sit here and tell you 100% I'm all in on it until I see more and see the price and stuff. In large part because, I mean, I am just running out of space for vehicles, so I've got to be start getting a little more choosy on what vehicles I decide to get. I'm sure it'll come with Frostbite, the Joe Frostbite, which is what the original figure came with. As far as stretch goals, I'm not really sure what we might see for stretch goals, but yeah, definitely a cool vehicle. Just like I say, Arctic is kind of. I mean, obviously we have a number of Arctic figures already. We've got Snow Job, we've got this, Cobra, Snow Trooper. So it'll be interesting to see. But as cool as the Snowcat was, I'm just like, as far as like compared to the Rattler or even the Dragonfly, I'm not quite as excited for this one. Assuming that's what it is, we don't know 100% that's what it's going to be, but I feel pretty safe in saying it's going to be a Snowcat. Um, so trying to zoom in, but it won't zoom. So, as far as what other reveals we're going to see this month, the things I talked about previously, I think, are still on the table. They just got pushed off, probably until June 11th. So the Flash figure, the Cobra Night Viper, wetsuit, I think. I've seen a few other folks throw out the name Sci-Fi. That's not one I've seen, but maybe that's one in the cards here coming up here soon. Flash and Sci-Fi like in the same round of, seems kind of like 2 laser kind of guys. I don't know, but those are just, and then we have other, like, so the All Striker render that they've now shown us twice, that could be coming up sometime this month. Again, I imagine that will be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive whenever they make that available. The retro cardback bat, the retro cardback green shirt figure, those are also ones that we might be seeing. I think that's it for like things that we've seen renders for. and then names that I've seen like that I was expecting to go up for pre-order originally today, but it looks like have been delayed um, a little bit. All right, well that pretty much wraps it up as far as news. So let's just pop back over, see what you guys are saying, what you guys are. Figure Fury. Did they ever say why? No, at least not in the live stream. And honestly, I wasn't aware that he was. I got my dial tone from Big Bad Toy Store. I mean, it did take a little while, but I got mine like I want to say a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure, you know, possibly tariffs and just causing shipping delays. I mean, that is something I think just over the course of this year, something you have to kind of expect that things aren't going to necessarily release when they were originally supposed to. Things just slowed down a bit with the shipping ports and things like that. So I think delays are just something you kind of have to. Asiano still worried about getting cold. I don't think they always say, well, if there's any quantities left after San Diego, we'll make them available. But there always is, and I'm pretty sure they actually allocate a certain number to actually sell online. And with the Cold Slither pack, it's not like a mainstream character like Chuckles or Dr. Mindbender or Serpentor that are like must haves. So, I think it'll probably sell well. I think it makes for a perfect type of Comic Con exclusive where it's not like something so critical. It's kind of cool and unique, but it's not something so critical that if you miss out, it's going to leave a gaping hole in your collection. So I think it makes for a perfect type of con exclusive, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be quite as in demand as like a Serpentor or Doctor Mindbender or Chuckles, like exclusives like they've done in the past. So I think as long as you're online the day that whatever day they end up announcing to sell that stuff, I think you'll probably have a pretty decent shot at getting it, even if you're not a premium member. Um, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Road Pig, as of this morning, we were up to 59, so one more to go. So if we get that at any point between, as I said, I don't know, depending on news, if there's enough news to do a stream on Friday, I'll be back on Friday. And then if not, then I'll be back on Monday. So hopefully by Friday or Monday, we'll have the 60 and then we can do the giveaway. I assume that's why you're asking, Road Pig. Felix says it looks like Wednesday in drag. I think it was from Toy Farce where it was like, you got the wrong person, you got the stunt double. Like they based the figure off the stunt double and not the actual actress. That made me laugh. Uh, Thanks for looking up the name drop figures. Well, again on the one, I'm only speculating because I don't think it's technically something. They listed as steel core, so they've given us steel core figures. So, but like I say, just knowing Hasbro and like how they like to repaint things sometimes, especially like the MMS, the missile system they gave us in Cobra colors and Joe colors is a perfect example. So that's maybe not an exact repaint, but repaint with some slight modifications. Yeah, Big Budo's everywhere, but it's a mainstream release, so it should be available anywhere that carries GI Joe Classified. The MMS, I think, is technically listed as a fan channel exclusive and Amazon, so pretty much anywhere online. But I don't think you'll see that ever on shelves at Target or Walmart. Probably not on their websites either. Hanzo says Mercer should have been on a bigger body. Oh, you think? To go back and look. I don't really think he should be bigger than Sergeant Slaughter. Maybe about the same size, which he is smaller than Sarge. I was trying to get back to the render. So yeah, you might have a point. I think in the movie, in the animated movie, it was about the same size as Falcon. So I'd have to see a comparison with Mercer and Falcon. But I don't know. You're probably right. It probably could have been on a little bit bigger body, but I don't know. I don't think he was as big as Sergeant Slaughter. Maybe he was. I'd have to go back and look. I just hope we get the other uh, Slaughter Marauders to go with him at some point. We need we need the rest of Cobra Law. We need Pythona and Globulus. I don't giving us Nemesis Enforcer without the other two is kind of pointless. So hopefully those will be coming at some point in the near future. And I don't want it to be like Marvel Legends where we get all these unfinished teams that seems like we're never going to get the complete teams. Figure Freely, I really want the MMS, but it's just too expensive with everything else out this year. Like I say, and I mean, I don't normally say this, but I do feel like, I'm not going to say it's going to go for pennies on the dollar, but at some point, because it's offered everywhere, including Amazon, like Amazon, I feel like at some point down the road, we'll put it on discount. Just like, right now you can go on Amazon and get the Cobra Stinger Jeep for like $76. I feel like eventually down the road, that will be the case with GI Joe. Now the Cobra one was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so I don't know if we'll ever see that one on discount anywhere. But the GI Joe one is available, at all major e-tailers. So Judge Dredge, I've got it finished for Samurai Ninjas. Then you definitely should be happy with today's pre-orders. CJ Prime, it's the MMS or the Snake Armor. Well, to me, if you're having to choose between those two, Snake Armor hands down. I definitely pre-ordered the Snake Armor and the Claw. I mean, we're getting a lot. We got the Claw this year. We're probably going to get the Awe Striker this year. We got a Haslab Snowcat this year. I know a lot of people were hoping we were going to see a Thunder Machine today because of that Cold Slither song on the new album, titled Thunder Machine. I feel like the Thunder Machine will get released, but they've given us so many other vehicles and stuff this year. I don't know if it would be this year or not. But they've given us like all the other Dreadnoks, or at least almost. What we still need Zandabar, and then we need Night Thrasher. Profit 924. I'm excited about the Haslab, but concerned about Snowcat offering. I bet it gets a redesign to have more character storage. I'm sure it'll have some redesign, but I don't know if it'd be drastic. I mean, if they could make it. Kind of go back to the 3D Joes. So I suppose they could make that back area where you could put some figures inside of it. But I mean, to me, that wouldn't ruin the outside of it, the outside look of it, and that would actually be nice if they made it so you could actually store some figures inside. So I don't, if they can pull that off, I don't think that would be a bad redesign. It'll have lights. I'm sure it'll have lights, working lights. Have blast effects. I'm sure it'll have some blast effects. Big giant windshield wiper. Do something with that. But I don't know. I just like if they were going to do some kind of major redesign, like make it so the whole thing had treads instead of just the back. But I don't know why they would do that. So I don't know. I don't think you're. I mean, again, it's not going to be 100. It's not going to just be a re-release of the original toy. But they've been pretty good with their vehicles and capturing the look and feel of the original toys with the His tank, with the Dragonfly. So I have faith that they will stay pretty close to the look and feel of the original Snowcat. Yeah, I mean, there's some other snow vehicles, but Snowcat is the one everybody knows. I mean, if I was a betting man, it's going to be the Snowcat. I'd be satisfied with the Polar Battle Bear, which obviously they could do as a regular general release. They wouldn't do that as a Haslab, but I could see that maybe getting released next year. That's more kind of in keeping with like the motorcycles and stuff. So I could definitely see them if they want to stick with the Arctic theme, giving us the polar bear next year as like a regular release type thing. Like one of the stretch goals, I could see them giving us a stalker, the like version 2 stalker, which was basically in winter gear, had the big coat, white coat. I could see that maybe being a stretch goal. This I could see this maybe being this version of Stalker being a stretch goal. It could even throw in his little boat. The other snow tank is the Avalanche, that would be perfect size for a Haslab. I vaguely remember the Avalanche. So I don't see them doing this as a Haslab. The Snowcat is going to resonate with so many more people than this would. So, I mean, maybe. I mean, I won't say 100%, but I would be shocked if they gave us this over the Snowcat. The Snow Wolf's a smaller vehicle. I guess this was a mail in, but that wouldn't be a Haslab. That would definitely, that's a Cobra vehicle too. I definitely think it'll be a GIJoe vehicle because, like I say, they like to flip back and forth. So last year was the Rattler, year before, or no, wait, yeah, last year was the Rattler, year before was the Dragonfly, the year before that was the His Tank. So this year, I'm sure will be a GIJoe vehicle. The Avalanche, I agree with you, size wise, could fit for a Haslab, but I just think more people know the Snowcat was in the cartoon. It was, besides the polar bear, it was like the second main Arctic vehicle that they did. Automaton, Jay, do you know why Hasbro hasn't been able to restock the Arctic Bat? My friend pre-order had been pushed back 5. Not. I mean, I haven't heard anything specific, but again, anything right now, I just with delays and tariffs and all that stuff, the ports have kind of backed up, and I mean, we haven't seen huge delays with stuff, but that definitely any kind of thing that's delayed right now, I would factory changes, all that kind of stuff. Oceano, the price of the Cold Slither set may price out many people. To a certain extent, I mean, obviously cheaper, you're going to get more people, but I think people that really want that will pay the money. I mean, I'm going to, let's say, what, $25 a figure. So and there's 4 figures. So $100 for the figures. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's 4 figures, but then you got the instruments. So I'm thinking probably 150 to 170 is probably what they're going to price it at. John says I don't mind things being delayed as long as they don't end up giving it. Yeah, that happened at COVID because everything got bottlenecked, and then once the bottleneck released, everything kind of came out flowing at the same time. Oh, you're right, Mr. Allmine. Chris, we do have 2 new members. So that should definitely throw us over 60. So definitely thank you guys for joining, becoming action figure enthusiast members. Now, I'm not going to do it today because I have to add all the names, all the new names to the wheel, but definitely next live stream, and it's either going to be Friday or Monday. If there's enough news to warrant a stream on Friday, we'll do it Friday. But I don't want to, I don't, other than a couple of pre-orders we've already talked about. I'm not sure how much news is going to come out between now and Friday, but if not Friday, Monday, we will definitely do another contest giveaway for you action figure enthusiast members. A good eye, Mr. Allmine. I missed. I did not see those. I think you always do a stream regardless of news. You can just throw out some topic in our. I I mean, technically you're right, but this is technically a news channel, so I try and gear it towards. I don't like just sitting here going, okay, what are we going to talk about, guys? I like having stuff to talk about. But so I will do my best to come to do one on Friday. Hopefully, we can squeeze out enough news to make it worth it. But like I say, if not Friday, definitely Monday. Felix always got to do a few rants. Now, if not, we wouldn't be human. I feel like there's so much ranting going on in the world these days. I just I don't even have the motivation to rant about anything. Profit 924. I'm sure Pythona will be in 2026. I hope so. What? Because it was last year we got Nemesis Enforcer, so I feel like we should at least get another Cobra Law, and maybe we will. The year we still got about half a year to go. So I won't say it's impossible. We couldn't get another Cobra Law member this year. But I mean, they haven't teased anything. They haven't given us any name reveals or anything like that. Yeah, Leatherneck should be in between size of regular Joes and Sarge. Roadblock, they'd have to make a new buck. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't. They don't really have that kind of mid-size guys that are bigger than like Flint and Duke, but not as big as Sarge and Roadblock and Gung Ho. Yeah, all those Slaughter Marauders were buff, not quite as big as Sarge. Didn't want to show up the Sarge, but definitely a little bit more muscular than your average Joe. Bazooka, I don't think so. I think Bazooka, yeah, Bazooka's same size as the regular Joes, at least the figure, if that's what you mean. CJ Prime, there's a classified group on Facebook. If you say any kind of criticism, they all flip out and take it personal and start insulting Rage. Well, you just kind of described 90% of social media. Judge Dreads, my guess is we may never see those Marvel Select figures. Certainly, I don't think anytime soon. Jay wants a Havoc with Cross Country. I would Havoc would be an interesting one. I didn't have that was a vehicle I did not have as a kid. At that point, I was starting to get out of GIJoe, so I never had that one. I remember the cartoon episode where some rat was like stealing things from all the Joes, and like Cross Country was like getting blamed for it or something like that. Snowcat. Price $250. More. I would not expect the snow. Well, I'll say I would not be expecting the snowcat to be any more than the Rattler, but I would kind of think it would be cheaper than the Rattler. So I'd have to think about it, but 250 somewhere in that range would sound probably about right. I mean, without having seen it, I'm envisioning the original toy, comparing it to other vehicles. So it's hard to say for sure, but I would kind of think that the Snowcat would a little bit smaller vehicle than like Dragonfly or the Rattler. So I wouldn't expect it to be quite as expensive as those. Cobra had the Ice Saber, but that was further along in the Joe line toward. Yeah, Cobra didn't get like Arctic vehicles until much later in the line. Because I guess they had the Hiss tank. In the cartoon, whenever they were in the Arctic, they were always using the Hiss tanks or flying in the Rattlers. They had that drilling machine that Destro had in the, when they drilled through the mountain. That's the Ice Saber. And you GIJoe fans probably are already familiar with this site, but if you ever need to reference an old GIJoe toy, YoJoe used to be the place, but that site's pretty much been shut down. But 3D Joe's is a good site to look at old GIJoe stuff. And yes, I had longs. Well, I won't say long, but I definitely was no longer collecting uh, or playing with GIJoe toys when this came out. The Ice Saber actually had firing mechanisms when the U.S. started to approve use of springs again in toys after the Battlestar Galactica Viper toy ruined it all for the 80s. I had I had that Battlestar Galactica show. Yeah, end of June, and they always launch the Haslabs at the same time they announce them. So you can pretty much plan the Haslab will launch for GI Joe will launch probably in the last week of June, and then they'll have it on display at San Diego Comic Con. They actually announced it at San Diego Comic Con last year, but this year, a few weeks before, and then they'll have it on display. Uh, I don't know anything because that would be a made to pre-order directly through Hasbro Pulse. So in order for something like that to actually have any credibility, it would require somebody within Hasbro to leak that information. Most leaks come from distributor lists, retailers, that type of thing. But something that's directly released through Hasbro Pulse, that would require somebody at Hasbro actually putting that information out on the internet in some shape or form. And so any rumor like that, it makes sense to me that they would do that with the Fantastic Four movie coming as a made to pre-order for this year. So I certainly wouldn't rule it out, but I don't put any real credence in actual rumors because most Hasbro employees, if they ever got caught releasing information like that, that could cause them to be fired. And I just feel like that's not a risk that they would take. Now, sometimes maybe Hasbro deliberately leaks things. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that for sure, but sometimes I wonder. But again, it's not like something that leaks out through a distributor list or a retailer or something like that. When it's something we're talking about directly, that's why like images didn't leak out for the Cole or for the Slice and Dice yesterday, because that was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. The other stuff was general releases, so I suspect some retailer uh, puts that out. That's why images generally leak out when that the live stream is the same day as the pre-order, because they send out the images to all the retailers and stuff um, the day before. So that's why the risk of leaking happens much more. That's why with Marvel Legends and Star Wars, generally the pre-orders are not the same day as the live streams. But but something like that, you know, I again, it makes logical sense. Like if I was a betting man, and I would say the odds are decent that they might do that, like they did with the Sentinel last year, again because of the Fantastic Four movie. But as far as I've not heard anything of other than, like I say, it sounds like something plausible that they might do, but nothing that I've heard specifically. And if somebody says that they've got inside information, well, if it's true, then it has to be coming from someone actually directly in Hasbro, um, who let that information out. So I kind of, like I say, I kind of take that with any kind of grain of salt. But again, definitely, it wouldn't shock me if they did that. And if they do, it'd probably be something. I mean, I don't think we're going to see a Marvel Legends Haslab this year, just like we did last year. So I think we're going to see that trend continue. So I do feel like we will end up with more made to pre-order things. And like I say, with the Fantastic Four movie and Galactus playing such a large role in that movie, it certainly would make sense. Now, my question is, if they do that, with the Sentinel actually, it wasn't just like a straight up re-release of the Haslab Sentinel. It was actually smaller. Um, you know, but with Galactus, I would wonder if it would just be a straight up re-release, probably taking out the electronics and maybe some of the detail of it. Obviously, it would have a different head sculpt. Obviously, it wouldn't have the extra figures and stuff. But I would wonder if the body of the Galactus, if they do end up doing that, would just be essentially a modified body, Haslab body, with a different head on it. But I don't know. If again, I suspect if that was coming, we will hear that at San Diego Comic-Con. The movie comes out in July. Comic-Con's in July. That would be a place you would want to reveal it, show it off. So if there's any, whether actual rumor, truth, or just, logical deduction, if we don't hear anything at San Diego, then I would say no, it's not going to happen. The nerd alert. See, I said this. I think I said this on Monday. If it was up to me for what vehicle they did next, I would want the whale, the hovercraft. That was like such an awesome vehicle. I know it would be big. I know it would probably, be the biggest vehicle they've done, but that was just such a cool toy back in the day. And it's a land and sea vehicle, so you get a lot of, you can put a lot of figures on it. It just, to me, if if I got to pick what they did for a HasLab, that's what it would be. Though granted, I would imagine that would be more expensive than any of the HasLabs that we've gotten so far. But to me, it would be worth if they did it, if they knocked it out of the park and everything. I don't know where I'd put it, but I'd find the space for it. Don't sell myself short. We don't follow you just for the news. We also enjoy getting Well, and I like sharing my thoughts with you, but usually it's about, I'm sharing my thoughts about things that we're talking about, which is usually the news. You know, it's like, I mean, I could do a short video. Like I could come out here, like if I just wanted to do a contest giveaway on Friday, but that's not going to take an hour. I usually when I do the streams, I like to, which we're actually over an hour now, but and there are times where if there's something in particular in my mind I want to talk about or get out, I don't mind coming on here. It's just I have to feel like I have something to talk about in order to want to. It's not that I don't like hanging out with you guys, but I feel like if I don't have anything on my mind to talk about, then I'm just going to come out here and kind of just stare blankly into the camera, and I don't think you guys would really find that. I know I'm good looking and all, but I don't think you guys would find that terribly entertaining. But I do appreciate the kind words, John. I mean, I'm always amazed you guys, a lot of you guys, the same names I see every week, every time I come on here. It's always amazing to see you guys wanting to listen to me just jabber on about stuff. So, and that's why, even though I'm doing it for action figure enthusiast members, I want to try and build that up, but it's 99 cents, so it's not like a big thing. But that's why, and obviously when I'm doing $100 store credits, believe me, when I'm spending more money to get you might say, oh, you're buying your members, and maybe kind of, but believe me, I'm spending more money for those action figure enthusiast members when I do the $100 store credits. But I do it because, it is a way to say thank you for your support and, listening to me chatter or go to the websites or whatever, because there's a ton of people, especially on YouTube. I know there are tons of people who these days make videos about action figures, and they're guys that the moment something hits the internet, they're throwing up a video just to talk about that one thing. I mean, I see that pop up all the time. So I realize you guys have a lot of places you can go to listen to people talk and give information, and some people may even have more inside information than I do, or at least willing to say more than I do. um, so I understand there's a lot of choices for you guys to choose from when you go to a YouTube channel, and I'm sure many of you guys watch multiple YouTubers. Judge Dredd's, I that might be. I don't know if it'd be that much, but it would definitely probably be over $500, I would think. A whale is really big in 1/12 scale. They can't foreshorten a sky striker and get away with it. A whale would look odd shrunk down. Let's say I wouldn't, you know, I don't know if I'd want them to really shrink it down. I mean, I realize it would be expensive, but I feel like, when we start talking about $500, $700, $1,000, I mean, go for the gusto and give us, the ultimate toy. I think there are definitely diehard Joe. I mean, obviously, we're not talking huge numbers, but I definitely feel like there are diehard fans out there that would plop down the money for something like that. And I mean, to me, it would be, as it always is with these things, more about space than the money itself. Because, like I say, but I I still kind of kick myself that I didn't back the Thundercat layer originally, and I ended up paying more for it from Big Bad Toy Store. But I love this thing. I mean, I'm glad I ended up getting this thing because it's a great display piece. I found a great place for it. Um, and keep the eyes and symbol lit all the time. So I definitely, it was expensive, and again, I paid more than the original price because I bought it from Big Bad Toy Store. But I don't actually regret buying that because it's just such a cool piece. Same thing with most of the stuff you see behind me. Um, but that being said, you know, because space is not infinite, money is not infinite either. Wish it was, but it's not. Um, sometimes you do have to get choosy. All right, so that's my little ramble, rant, whatever you want to say for the day. But we are well over the hour today, so definitely, I will definitely shoot for being here on Friday. If so, we'll do the giveaway for Action Figure Enthusiast members. If not, definitely on Monday. Um, I'll keep you updated. And yeah, so and we got a lot. I mean, definitely it's gonna be, we got more Marvel Legend pre-orders coming up. We've got 3 this week, and then pretty much 1 a week. We've got GIJoe throughout the month. McFarlane's probably got some more stuff to show us here in the near future. So NECA. So things slowed down last month, but I feel like we're about to start to kind of kick into overdrive as we get closer and closer to San Diego Comic-Con. So, all right, guys. But thank you for tuning in tonight or today. As always, stay safe out there. And until next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to toynewseye.com, marvelousnews.com, JediInsider.com, and tformers.com. And remember, action figures are great,